Yes, my people, and today welcome back to my video. And today we're going to be doing something crazy, absolutely crazy. And today we're going to be ranking every single one of my albums that I've released in like the past year or so. So let's get into it. So the first album, as you can see on the screen right here, is Legendary. Now, if you was an OG subscriber of mine, I don't know why I'm saying it like I've got loads of subscribers, so but like if you're one of the people that stuck by me during when I first started making videos on YouTube, you would have understood. This Legendary track album is basically um, like releasing music, but my old music to show. Like I used to do music in the past, and these was Legendary albums by the time they were out. At the time when they were out, and I just thought I'd re-release them back because some of them are decent, but some of them just got high views when they were out in the first place. Some of them are not even that great, to be honest, but they were good. And there was like 3 new tracks that I made that because I came back after a year making music again, and pretty much yeah, just that's it. But other than that, most of the tracks are old songs, really, just to show where I came from and stuff like that. But anyway, I'm gonna rank this album, right? I'm gonna rank every single album out of 10. I'm not gonna put in some tier lists or anything like that. I'm gonna keep it simple, and I'm sorry about all them flipping spots there. Like I've got bad acne, my mother. Terrible. I'm looking at myself in the camera and it's bad. But but yeah, I'm gonna rank every single album out of 10 and give my thoughts on it. It is a good album. It's a decent album at the time, but now looking back, I'm like, rah. But I'm gonna give it a solid 5 out of 10. It's just average, pretty much. Just it really just shows really where I was during the time, and I was just making music again. And I just thought I'd re-release my old music. Um, Pretty much re-release my best music at the time when they were out, if that makes sense. So yeah, let's move on to the next one. So the next album that I released after Legendary, it was Last Day on Earth. Now this one was like a short album. I think there was only like 7 tracks in this album. Let's just have a quick look real quick. But like it was decent at the time, but looking back now, I could do way better on the tracks. The audio of my voice, like the volume of my voice, was so terrible. Like it wasn't really the best album, really. At the time, like I said, it was a good album, but now, looking at it now, it's just mid. Really, it's a mid album. It's not really the best album I've made. Probably the best track from that album was probably "Come Back to Me." Really, and that was the first time. That is the first track of me actually trying to sing, and at the time it did bang, to be fair. But right now, looking back now, we could have done better. But I'm probably gonna give this album probably 5 out of 10. It was okay. It weren't too great, if you know what I mean. But some of the tracks I definitely could have done better. So anyway, the next album that I released, that I think anyway, I'm trying to go by order here, but let me know if I got these wrong. But the next album is I'm Not Human, and this album is shocking. I'll be honest, I do not like this album at all. Like I think I could have done way better on the beats. Every single song is not good at all. Like with the Last Day on Earth one, that was just me coming back to music. With the I'm Not Human one, like I don't even know what I was thinking. There was 2 tracks in there that was so bad. I didn't realize how bad they was until like a few days after, and then I took them down. Like it was shocking. Like this album is shocking. Like some people might like some of the tracks in this album. That's up to you in it. But like in my opinion, I do not like this album. I was so real. I actually don't like this album. I wish I can just go back and just not release it. People are saying like, oh, you should just remix the album, do a I'm Not Human remix album or something like that. But I just really right now focusing on a new album at the moment in time. If you look at my community, I did put out an official date for my new album coming out soon, but I might have to change it because there's a few tracks that I need to still carry on finishing. But with I'm Not Human though, terrible man, terrible. Like the tracks are awful in my opinion, so I'm gonna give this a 4 out of 10 pretty much with this one. So the next album that is on the list, I think anyway, I'm just gonna put any album on the list anyway. But the next album that I released after that was The Great Unknown featuring Lieutenant DK. Now at the time, I made loads of tracks with Lieutenant DK. At the time, I never really made my own tracks, like on my own. I just mainly made tracks with Lieutenant. Um, and then before you know, we made so many tunes together. Let's just make an album together. Like let's do a collaboration of an album. You're probably thinking, well, where's Lieutenant DK's tracks? We go on his channel, we can't find now because he doesn't want to upload his own tracks on his. He don't want to upload tracks on his channel. I don't know why, but that's just how he is, isn't it? You don't mind me uploading our tracks on YouTube just as long as they're good. But with Great Unknown though, this album is good. Some of the songs are so good in it. Like for example, My Fault is a good tune. Hard to Trust is a banger. Thinking of You is a banger. What else is there? Don't Let Go is a good album, good tune. That used to be that came out as a single, but that came out with the album because it is part of it. But I just thought I'd release one track that will be going on the album. My Way was a good. Like to be fair, all the tracks are actually good. My brother is a decent one. Shots in the Dark could be better. I think I could have done better in the track. But I think Shots in the Dark was the last one, and we just wanted to make one more quick tune before we. Because I think we wanted to make it. I think it was 18. I think so. I can't remember how many tracks were on the album now. But we wanted to hit this certain number on the tracks, so we quickly made Shots in the Dark. We still obviously made sure it was sounding decent. Like I said at the time when we made Shots in the Dark, it was a good one. But other than that, the rest of the tracks, other than My Brother, which was decent but not too good, and Shots in the Dark, them two tracks are decent. They're all right, but the rest are mint tracks. Mint tracks, absolutely sick. And for that, I'm going to give it a solid 8 out of 10. Classic, sick album. Don't care what anyone says. Sorry for the long pause there, but anyway, the next album on the list is Beautiful. Now, don't get me wrong, I don't even, like, to be honest, before anyone even, to be fair, at the time, I don't even know why I called it Beautiful, to be honest. I want it to be a beautiful album. But, like, it's such, like, but Beautiful, though, it is actually a good album. It's a decent album. There is a few good tracks on the album. For example, Take Me Now. It's a really good tune. But I think that is the only best tune on the album, to be honest. Maybe Love Me Back is a good one. No, not maybe. It's a good one. Goodbye Forever. It's decent. Side by Side with my dad, with Lieutenant DK. Is a good track. But that got released before the album anyway. School Shooters featuring XXXTentacion. I could have done better in the track. It was pretty much that track when I first released it was average. At the time, though, it was good, but other than that, it was just pretty average. But Take Me Now carried this album. I'll be honest with you, it did. And for that, I'm going to give it a solid. Um, the tracks were better than like Goodbye, like Last Day on Earth and all that. And I'm I'm not human, so I'm going to give this track a good 7 out of 10. Right, what the flips are? Right, anyway, boys, the next track that is on, no, not track, the next album I want to talk about is Even More Pain. Now, this album is a pretty big album, but this is like secretly part two of Legendary, pretty much. Because if you look at the album, the um, first like one, two, three, the first 8 tracks of the things, it's just full of old songs. That's it, and the rest, there's like 6 other new ones in the album or something like that. So it's pretty much like Legendary Part 2, pretty much with more old songs getting re-released and stuff like that. So really and truly, there's just not really a difference, but it's just but like the new tracks on the album are better songs. Like Carrion's a good track, Settlement's a good tune, Moonlight's a good tune, and such. Even some of the old songs still slap to this day. But yeah, that's pretty much it, really. But like, to be fair, rating it, pretty much, it's a good album. I'll say that, it's a good album. I'm going to give it a 7 out of 10. Still a good album though, it still does its thing. There's still a good few tunes I like. Attention's okay, and like stuff like that, etc. And there's some other tracks that have already been released before that are in this album, but we're not going to talk about. So yeah, the next album on the list is Never. It's Never Easy. Now, this album just came out of nowhere. People weren't even expecting an album coming out. There is one track that got removed off this album, was More. And the reason why that got removed is because it was not even a good tune. So I thought I'd take that down and redo it. But I've never even released it, to be fair. I've never even tried to remake More, to be honest, because there was so many other tracks that I wanted to finish. I ended up forgetting about it until a few months after, saying, because I remember I was going through my phone and I seen More and I was like, oh, yeah, I was meant to remix More. But it was too late. But I might end up doing it anyway. Again, so you're probably releasing it with a new album that I think that I'm doing. But with It's Never Easy though, there's a few ups and downs in this album. Really, there's a few decent tracks. Like I said at the time when it got released, there was some good tracks. There were good tracks in my eyes. But now looking back, I just realised I can do so much better. There's some good big hits on that album called Understand Me with Polo G. Obviously, the reason why I got the views on that one is because obviously Polo G's in it. Obviously, I'm not saying that I did sick in the track. To be fair, I think I could have done better in that tune. Love Story featuring EBT Block, T Block. That is a good song. I do like that song, and it's a really good one. It still slaps to this day. Alone Part 3 is such an unfinished tune. Such an unfinished tune. Looking back at it, I should have done more because that is look at it, it's pure lazy. That terrible. I don't know what I was doing. But the next track was like Thinking About You. Like I said, I could have done better with that. I was featuring Nano. I could have done better. But most of the tracks in that album were features. But other than that, yeah, I could have done better with some of the tracks. So what I'm gonna say is 6 out of 10. It's a there's like I said, there's a few ups and downs in this album, and I know now that I can do way better on these tracks. And if I might remix them. I never know. So yeah. So the next album is Last Christmas. I released this album a few weeks after It's Never Easy because I remember I released them two albums in the same month. Stupidly, I don't know why I made It's Never Easy. I actually don't have a clue. But I was planning on making an album involving Christmas and stuff like that. But let's get into it. So the same way It's Never Easy. There's a few ups and downs tracks in this album, and pretty much if you look at the album right here, right there, it's like it's got a few ups and downs. It's all over with Lucien DK. That is a good song. Present is it's okay, but it's so unfinished. Well, no, it's not. So it's just short. Like I do a whole entire song and then repeat it again. Like Number Pain, I like a bit of a down track. Bleeding could have done better. It ain't over you. I ain't over you. Is an actual good song in the album. I'll be honest with you. I actually like that song. I'm Lonely featuring Benita. I can't say a fucking name. It's annoying sometimes. It's a good song. I think I can do it a bit better. Scuba is a good song. I like that song. Triumph is okay. But other than that, though, it's pretty much like an average album, really. It's like it's not too good, but it's not too bad. It's just in the middle, really. So what I'm really gonna say, I'm gonna give that a 7 out of 10, pretty much. The next album is Dark Street. I remember at the time I hyped this album so much, and the reason why I did is because there's just bangers on this album. I don't get complete sit tunes on this album. Dark Street Interlude, basically me just explaining what it's like to be alone in that dark street on your own, pretty much, really. And the next thing is the demon track, Stick. I'm a demon, hear me speak. Oh, such a tune. Suicidal with Juice WRLD and YNW Melly tune. I remixed it because I needed the OG version. Needed a bit of work after when I did it. Broken Things, a good tune. Sidelines, good tune. Final, a good tune. Lonely Dream is the only one that I don't really like as much, but other than that, the rest is sick. Um, so really, this album is a really good album. I actually like Dark Street, and then I think it was the best album I've ever made. After all those albums, I've said the best album, and it's shorter than Last Christmas, and you would expect Last Christmas to be better. Obviously, there's more tracks, more tunes, and stuff like that. But just because you've got loads of tracks on an album doesn't mean it's going to be sick. Do you know what I'm saying? You could have a 6 song album, and that could slap. You know what I'm saying? But you know what? I'm going to give this a solid 8 out of 10. It's not really up there, but it's still good tunes on it. The next album is one of my biggest albums I've ever made, and that is Cross the Globe with over 25 tracks. Over 25 tracks in this album. Now, this album took time to do. I remember I was recording some of the Cross the Globe tracks during Dark Street, Um, but with this album, it is a bit of a disappointment, to be honest, looking back at it now. I remember I released this on my birthday in April, not saying a specific date, but I did release this on April this year, I think it was. Yeah, it was. Um, and to be honest, looking back at it, shocking. Shocking album. Most of the tracks on it, other than Slow Down, are shocking. I was sorry, Risque, terrible. Mannequin, terrible. Don't know why I think I released that. Like, most of the songs on this album were so dead. Like, I know I'm being harsh on myself, but I'm being honest, like, none of the songs on this album really slapped. Like, I don't know what made me even want to release this. Like, maybe Popular was, like, Popular, I don't know, man. Like, Slow Down was good. Um, I don't, like, I'm looking at all the tracks now, just to make sure I'm not missing anything. They're not really good albums, mate. They're not really good songs, you can tell, because most of them have got, like, hardly any views. Slow Down is the best tune of the track, and because of that, I'm gonna have to give this album a good 4 out of 10. This album it's not even average. Most of the tracks were terrible. If I could go back right now, I would get rid of every single track. But right now, it's too late. So the next album on the list, it is Love. Now, with this album, cold album, love all the tunes in it. Broken Heart tune, Finding Me tune, it ain't over tune. The only thing that lets this album down of all the tracks is Ruthless. I released Ruthless because it was a song that I meant to upload, but I never uploaded it. So I thought, right, I'm releasing it now in this album just so it's out there. And the same with Battles of the Heart, really. Battles of the Heart is okay, but the other three tracks ain't over. Finding Me, Broken Heart, tunes, man. Tunes. They're the tracks that actually save this album. And because of that, I'm going to give this album a solid 8 out of 10. So the next album, I think it's the last album. I think I'm going to double check just in case after this when I've recorded this bit. So the next album is Broken Promises, straight 10 out of 10 album. Love this album so much. Every single track, tune, how it go. It's probably the worst one in my opinion out of the tracks, but it's still a good tune anyway. You tune, Alone Part 5 tune. They're all bangers. Restart tune. Baby, why do you keep on texting me? Tune, your type, tune, every single track, tune. Like, I don't care what anyone says, 10 out of 10 tracks on that. That is the best album I've made so far, anyway. So, yeah. I don't even need to say anything else, really. So, yeah.